Doncic is back in. Oh, LeBron! Oh! He reached back and then threw it down with the left hand.
Most people his age are worried about throwing their back out just from sleeping in the wrong position. Yet he is out here putting Wizards players on posters. It makes you wonder, is this just elite genetics? Or is modern science doing the heavy lifting? Before we get into the supplement stack, do you think LeBron is actually the GOAT? Or is he just the most expensive science project in NBA history by a factor of 8?
By 8,
This crowd's happy now.
But let's look at the math here. The average NBA player retires around 33. By 35, most stars look like they are running in quicksand. Look at the legends Kobe, Shaq, Dirk. By the end, those guys were moving like they had cinder blocks taped to their socks. Meanwhile, LeBron is at an age where he should be transitioning into a podcast and golf lifestyle. Yet, he is still playing 35 minutes a night and leading fast breaks. It is almost as if he has found a way to stop time. Or more accurately, maybe his financial investments are doing the stopping for him.
If the world understood what LeBron did, like other basketball players will hear what LeBron does and go, well, yeah, but that doesn't matter, right? It's like a baseball player and you're hitting a stick out of the way. It doesn't matter. It's like, no. If you knew what these performance enhancers did, then you would know why it does matter.
What do you think he's
there's
doing?
only one, we have the same drug guy, if you will. I know exactly what he's doing. But there's only one golfer.
Please tell.
There's only one golfer. I'm not going to, but there's only one golfer that follows the big three. And the big three is EPO, growth hormone, testosterone. That's the Lance Armstrong diet. There's one golfer, but it's Tiger Woods. Like, yes, it does matter. People will say it all the time. It doesn't matter. John Daly won it. It's like, it matters. Trust me that it matters. EPO matters. It's the reason LeBron takes it. It matters. And if other basketballers understood what it did, EPO increases your red blood cells, which gives you endurance so you can play all game long. You can shoot in the fourth quarter just like you shot in the fourth
in your red blood cells. Okay, got you.
It's the king of performance enhancer.
It is the king of performance enhancers. Now, you have probably heard the PR-friendly version of this story. Maverick Carter and the LeBron camp love to tell us that he spends $1.5 million a year on his body. That is such a lovely, wholesome number. It makes you think of fancy organic kale smoothies, cryotherapy tanks, and maybe a very expensive personal trainer who yells at him to do one more rep. We are supposed to believe that if we all just had 1.5 million bucks and a hyperbaric chamber, we would also be throwing down windmill dunks at age 40. Sure, and I am sure that hyperbaric chamber is definitely filled with extra oxygen and nothing else. Definitely no special sauces being whipped up in the back of that Mercedes Sprinter van he uses as a mobile recovery unit.
I want to know for the people, man, who are watching, what would this mean for LeBron James's legacy if this is true? If he's on this, Balco, this new juice. I want to know, man. Like the way he slipped it in and he said it.
Control-Alt-Delete. Slip the what? Damn, relax.
Damn.
Control-Alt-Delete.
Damn. That was almost as bad as Darvin Ham when he said whip it out. Huh?
Yeah,
that was crazy. My bad.
Crazy.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
But the way KG said it and the way Paul Pierce reacted to it, it's kind of like, we knew about this. Like, he didn't say, whoa, what are you talking about? Like, there was no reaction to it.
Remember the biogenesis scandal back in 2013? That was the one that took down Alex Rodriguez and a bunch of other MLB guys? Well, fast forward to some unredacted federal documents that surfaced, and guess whose name popped up? Not LeBron himself. He is way too smart for that. But his inner circle was there, specifically his longtime friend and business manager, Ernest Randy Mims. Now, I am not saying that having your best friend linked to a PED clinic means you are juicing, but it is a bit like finding out your roommate is a master chef while you are mysteriously gaining weight and eating 5-star meals every night. It is a coincidence that smells a lot like testosterone. Then there is Chael Sonnen. Now, Chael is a professional instigator, but the man knows his way around a needle.
You guys know what a dry snitch is? Have you heard that term? A dry snitch is a lingo on the streets. And you know what a rat is. A rat is somebody that gets in a jam, but if they have information on somebody that's bigger, you can take the cheese, you can give that information up, you can get yourself out. Okay. But a dry snitch is where you're not in a jam, there's nothing on the table, and you just offer a guy up. Sorry, you just offered him up. And I got to tell you, so a couple of months ago, I did Andrew Schultz's show. And topic of LeBron James have come up. LeBron James and EPO. I'm on Andrew Schultz, and man, this guy, he's taking EPO. We got the same dealer.
And Sonnen basically said that LeBron is clean in the same way a freshly waxed car is clean. It looks great on the surface, but there is a lot of chemistry keeping it that way. Chael's argument is that you cannot have that much mass and that much endurance at that age without some chemical help. And honestly, watching LeBron sprint back on defense in the fourth quarter after playing 40 minutes, it is hard to argue that he is just really, really well hydrated.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything he can do to damage his career at this point, to be real with you.
Yeah.
Unless if he legitimately gets busted for steroids or any type of peds.
100%.
He looked like he was carved out of granite. He didn't just have muscles. He had muscles on top of his muscles. And yet, he never got tired. He would play every game, every minute, and then go to the Olympics in the summer. It is a level of recovery that makes Wolverine look like a couch potato. If you look at the clips from that era compared to now, he hasn't actually lost much. His vertical might be down an inch, but his power is still there. At 41, your testosterone should naturally be plummeting. You should be losing muscle mass. You should be taking 3 days to recover from a light jog. LeBron is doing the opposite. He is essentially a 250-pound science experiment that plays point guard. We also have to look at the German doctor theory. Whenever LeBron has a minor injury that should take 6 weeks to heal, he disappears for 10 days and comes back looking stronger than before. I went to see a specialist, he says. Right. A specialist who happens to live in a country where the regulations on experimental treatments are, let's say, flexible. It is the same thing Kobe used to do with his knees. It is called regenokine, or platelet-rich plasma therapy on the brochures. But who knows what is actually in the cocktail when you are the most famous athlete on the planet? And let's talk about the $1.5 million investment again, because it is such a great cover story. Oh, you think it's weird I have the recovery time of a teenager? It is the $1.5 million. It is a brilliant marketing move. It turns a potential scandal into a work ethic narrative. It makes every other player in the league feel lazy because they only spend a couple $100,000 on their bodies. But if it were just money and biohacking, why isn't everyone doing it? Why isn't Steph Curry suddenly 230 pounds of pure muscle? Why isn't Kevin Durant leaping over people at 37? Because even with the best trainers and the best kale, Father Time eventually catches you. Unless, of course, you have got a better chemist than Father Time. The way LeBron James has morphed physically over the decades belongs in a medical textbook or maybe an evidence locker at the DEA. Rewind to his rookie season in Cleveland, and you see this stringy, spring-loaded kid. Then he takes his talents to South Beach and suddenly looks like he's trying to land the lead role in a Marvel movie. His jaw squared up, his deltoids turned into cannonballs, and his cardio hit levels that defy physics for a guy carrying that kind of mass. We aren't talking about filling out your frame. We're talking about a total physiological rewrite. Typically, when a player bulks up like that, they lose a step. They get heavy-footed. LeBron actually got faster. He turned into a freight train with the footwork of a ballerina. But let's sidebar to the anti-aging racket for a minute. We're living in times where tech tycoons like Bryant Johnson are dropping millions to swap plasma with their teenage sons just to shave off a few years. You seriously think the most obsessive competitor in sports history isn't exploring every single legal gray area in modern medicine? LeBron is chasing the ghost of the GOAT. He wants the stats. He wants the longevity records. If there's a peptide, an obscure hormone, or a designer compound that hasn't made the banned list yet, you can bet the house it's blended into his breakfast shake. And honestly, the NBA's position on this is the punchline. The league is a corporation. LeBron James is the logo. If the face of your franchise gets popped for a dirty test, your stock takes a nosedive. So, what's the play? You implement a drug policy that's basically an IQ test. As long as you've got the budget for top-tier doctors who know the flush cycles, you're golden. It's a wink and nod arrangement. LeBron gets to maintain God mode, and the league keeps selling jerseys and streaming packages. Everybody eats except the poor rookie trying to check a 41-year-old cyborg who hasn't lost a step since 2005. Think about the recovery times. That is the massive, flashing red light. Look at that clip from the Wizards game. LeBron is going full throttle. After a poster dunk like that, your average 41-year-old needs an ice bath and a nap. LeBron jogs back on defense, grinning, ready to run it back 5 minutes later. The mileage on his odometer is insane. He has logged more minutes than almost anyone to ever lace them up. And yet, the guy has never suffered a catastrophic, season-ending blowout. No snapped Achilles, no exploded knees, nothing. That kind of durability is either a statistical anomaly or the product of some serious cellular regeneration tech. Remember his whole strive for greatness motto? Brilliant marketing. It frames his biology as a byproduct of his will. If he's still elite at 41, the story goes that he just wants it more. If he heals faster, it's because he naps harder. It's a fairy tale that completely ignores how human bodies actually work. Grinding hard doesn't stop your muscle fibers from decaying. Willpower doesn't reverse the decline of fast-twitch muscle. Unless, of course, that mentality involves doing absolutely anything, legal or shady, to keep the edge. Even the way he discusses his longevity feels rehearsed. He always pivots back to discipline being the secret sauce. He'll drop a clip of himself hitting the weights at 5 a.m. But there are thousands of grinders who work just as hard and are out of the league by 32. The gap isn't the effort. The gap is the resources. LeBron has access to biohacks that the average role player hasn't even heard of. He is basically the beta tester for Human Performance 2.0. Let's look at the slip-ups. Remember when his wife, Savannah, posted that story where he had those weird lumps on his abs? The internet immediately flagged them as injection sites. The $1.5 million PR machine spun it as cupping or some therapy marks. It's always a misunderstanding. It's never the obvious answer. It's like finding a guy with white powder on his nose who swears he just ate a donut. Eventually, you have to stop looking for the donut and acknowledge the powder. And then you have the Jordan comparison. MJ retired, came back, rinsed and repeated. By the time he was 40 in a Wizards jersey, he was still effective, but he was a shadow of his prime self. He wasn't jumping over anybody. He relied on old man game fadeaways, footwork, savvy. LeBron is still trying to put people on posters. He is playing a young man's game in a body that should be collecting a pension. If the literal greatest player ever couldn't outrun Father Time at 40, how is LeBron seemingly getting bouncier? It fails the eye test. The mental burden has to be heavy, though. Being LeBron means living under a microscope 24/7. Maintaining the illusion of being a genetic freak while possibly running a walking pharmacy requires a level of discipline that is supernatural in its own right. If he is juicing, he's the most responsible user in history. No roid rage meltdowns. No sloppy behavior. He stays cool, corporate, and dominant. But consider the precedent. He's setting a bar that isn't real. Young kids watch him and think if they just hustle, they can play until 45. They don't realize they're competing against a billion-dollar bio-support system. They're bringing pocket knives to a gunfight, and the other guy's gun is loaded with EPO and HGH. It's a warped reality we all accept because, hey, it's good TV. What happens the day he hangs them up? Does he deflate overnight? Will we see a retired LeBron who drops 20 pounds of muscle and can't touch the rim? That's usually the tell. Look at any retired slugger suspected of using once they leave the testing pool. They look like totally different humans. The mass vanishes. The explosion disappears. And suddenly, they actually look their age. If LeBron retires and morphs into a regular 45-year-old dad, case closed. Until then, we just watch him bully the Wizards. We watch this father-son narrative play out like a Disney script. We watch Bronny try to keep up with a dad who might be more machine than man at this point. It is a wild time to be a hoophead, provided you're cool with a little chemical enhancement in your sports entertainment. The funniest angle is the Bronny factor. The man is literally on the court with his own kid. He has outlasted an entire generation. He played against guys' dads, and now he's cooking their sons. He's basically a vampire, only instead of blood, he's chugging whatever is in those labelless green bottles on the bench. If you think LeBron is just a freak of nature, you're probably the same type who thinks reality TV is unscripted. But hey, as long as the highlights keep coming, who are we to question the science? If you dug this deep dive into the King's secret formula, smash that like button and subscribe for more.